So are you guys ready for some details on this Lion Brand Ice Cream Big Scoop Watermelon Blanket? That is a mouthful. Lion Brand Ice Cream Big Scoop. 10 ounces, 284 grams, 1,117 yards, 1,022 meters, 100% acrylic. It is a number 3 light or DK weight yarn. Recommended hook size is an H or a 5 millimeter. I used a G, which is a 4.25 millimeter. In the color watermelon. Okay, I used all 10 ounces. I used every scrap of yarn from the beginning of the skein to the end. There were absolutely no leftovers. Okay. I can tell you that it took me on the average 3 minutes and 13 seconds per row. That also applies to the border. On the short side of the border, it would have been 3 minutes and 13 seconds. On the long side, it was 4 minutes and 11 seconds, which I do add all that up later and tell you about that. The big 10 ounce Big Scoop cost me $14.97. I bought it at eBay. So I don't think there was any tax, and I think it was free shipping. So $15 for a skein of yarn. I did use some plain old white from a skein that I have. I don't think I used a lot of the white, so I'm guesstimating about 50 cents worth of the white. Okay. Here are all my notes. Get the flashlight from my phone. Okay, so in case you guys want a screenshot. So I'm estimating about $15–16 for yarn. I did use the linen stitch, which we all know is a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then on the next row you work in the chain 1 space. My chain was 109 plus 2. Okay. And I used that chain 2 as a stitch. Okay. So I think it turns out to be like 110 stitches. I did 119 rows for what I call the body of the blanket. 119 rows for the body of the blanket. All right. And then, I did, sorry for my language. I did 18 rows on the border. I just went and went and went until there was no yarn left. Let's see the size of my blanket. Let's get the camera down so you can see a little bit better, huh? All right, and remember, I'm in my bedroom and I've got squeaky floors in here. All right, here we go. So 109 chains. When you get down to the end, you add 2 more. And then you work a single crochet in second chain from the hook. And then you chain 1, you skip, and then you do a single crochet. Hopefully everybody knows how to do the linen stitch. I feel like I don't explain it very well. And then on the next row, you do your single crochet in the chain 1 space. Then you chain 1, you skip the single crochet. Then you do a single crochet in the chain 1 space. And that's the linen stitch. I went with such a narrow chain of 109 because I wanted the self-striping yarn to do its job, and it did. It actually, Lion Brand Ice Cream yarn does really well with the self-striping. All right, I'm really happy with the way it works up. So this is the color watermelon, with 2 different shades of green, 2 different shades of pink with white, and I went and went and went until it felt like it was a good size. I knew I was going to use up all the yarn on the border. So I can't tell you how much I actually used on the body of the blanket. I don't know. It would just be a guess. I don't even think it was half the skein. I think it was less than that. So let's say maybe 3 or 4 ounces. Okay. So that left the other 7 and 6 ounces for the border. All right. Now you can see it is bubbling a little bit. It is ruffling a little bit. I need to remember when I do a single crochet on the border, I need to loosen up my stitches. I crochet very tight. Sometimes when I'm doing a border, I don't know why, my hands are just holding everything very tightly. So the stitches, my single crochets wound up being very tight, and it pulls in and it causes this little buckling. I'm not overly frustrated with it. It's fine. It happens. And you know, I'm okay with that. Gives it a little bit of texture, and I like texture in my blankets. So when I was done with row number 119, I fastened off, grabbed my white. I just started in a corner somewhere, and I did 2 rounds of plain white, okay? And I did it in just a single crochet. I didn't do the linen stitch yet. I didn't start the linen stitch for the border until I went back to the watermelon. So in my corners, I typically do a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet instead of doing 3 single crochets in the border. I don't know why. In the corners, that's just the way I do it. It's just kind of like when we're making granny squares, and I think it works really well when you're doing a border. So in every corner, it is a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet, and it gives me plenty of room to work each and every single one of my corners. On my last round, and yeah, you'll see some white because the watermelon didn't quite make it all the way around on that last round. I think I made it like 3/4 of the way. Then I finished it in white, which is fine because when I started the picot stitch on the border, it actually started with the white wherever we were in the sequence of colors, okay? So what I did is I made sure there was a picot in each and every single corner. So for me, a picot is chain 3, and then I slip stitch down in the bottom of the first chain, okay? Or sometimes I slip stitch into the top of the single crochet that the chain 3 is coming out of. I don't think I do it the same every single time. And then I did single crochets, and I did 2 single crochets, then a chain, and then a single crochet. I made sure that my picots were in every other chain 1 space, if that makes any sense. I would suggest you just do whatever feels right for you doing the picot stitch. So I showed you guys that a lot of the green wound up on this one side of the border, which I am actually okay with that. And here it is down here with the pink and the greens together, which is really cute. But you know that my favorite part of the border was this part where it alternated with pink, white, pink, white, pink, white. I would love it if the yarn was just pink and white and it did this, okay? So short of having a ball of pink and a ball of white and changing it every row and every round, I love the way this worked out. And I like how the picots over here are in the darker green. He loved it. So, you know, I did have to soak this in fabric softener because I don't know why that the Lime Brand ice cream in the big scoop is a bit scratchy, but the fabric softener, it worked. I just used whatever fabric softener sold at the grocery store, and it worked, and it is now super soft, you know. So here, let's see if we can do this again. Linen stitch. There, size G or 4.25 millimeter. And I used all of the yarn. All of the yarn. I did 119 rows. My starting chain was 109 plus 2. And I do use that chain 2 as the turning chain. I do use it as a stitch. So 2 rows of white for the border, 15 rows of, well, actually 16 rows of watermelon. Just this last round was the picot. And then this is how I do all my math. Okay, for the border, because you have to, while it was 18 minutes, but that's just the bottom short side. And then it would have been, I mean, 18 rounds. Oh, it's so complicated, okay? This side of the border is 18 rows. Up there, it's 18 rows. So it's 32 for the short sides. For the long sides, it's 32. Okay? So when I did the math for how much time I spent on that, I promise you, the math is not all that complicated. I know it kind of looks that way, but it's not. So once I added in how much time it took me for the 119 rows, how much time it took me for the initial chain, and how much time for the border. 18 rows of the border, but it's on 4 different sides. I came in at 10 hours. 10.3 hours is how long it took me to make this blanket. So my measurements, when I measured it wide this way, just the body of the blanket before I started the border, just this initial, you know, linen stitch back and forth, came in at 24 inches wide and 29.5 inches tall. But when I add in the border, because the border is roughly 4 inches on each side, I came in at 31 inches wide and 38 inches tall. These numbers are approximate because I do use a tape measure, one of those fabric tape measures, and I measure it on the bed, and the bed is lumpy. So all my measurements are approximate. Okay, so 10 hours worth of work, $16 worth of yarn. And there we go. We got a cute little baby blanket out of this. Adorable, isn't it? Now, because I am having this love affair with Lion Brand ice cream yarn, and it turns out that they make colors in the big scoop that they do not make in the little skeins of yarn, because the little skeins are, what, 3.5 ounces, and the big scoop is 10. So they make other colors that are completely different. And I'm thinking about buying the other colors and making more blankets just like this, because this was fun, it was quick, it was easy. And who doesn't love a fun, quick, easy project, right? I am going to leave it there for today. That's it. I was just giving you all the details on this blanket so then I can get pictures done. I can get it in my Etsy shop. And I'm upstairs in my room. It's a bit warm up here today, so I don't have any stories for you. I wanted to give you the details on the blanket. You know how much I appreciate each and every single one of you. I thank you guys for watching my videos, and I will see you in a couple days with a weekly wrap up. Bye.